Anytime in situations like that, everybody in the gym knows he's going to get the ball.
Clutch time, winning time, it's usually Jordan time.
He was the first option, and the second option if possible.
If I'm Cleveland, though, I'm going to make someone other than Michael beat me.
My mind started to think about all the other winning shots that I've made, and here we are in Cleveland again. Same scenario in a sense.
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan.
Once I stepped on the court, I had total confidence that I was going to make the shot.
Literally seeing his aura.
Meeting Michael Jordan for me was looked like he was like Jesus, Black Jesus walking towards me.
The dude looked like Black Jesus to me. Nobody could tell me anything different.
Was there anybody that you kind of avoided talking smack to because if you did?
Yeah, Michael Jordan. You don't want to mess with God.
Let's start the video. In 1982, 2 years before Michael Jordan was even drafted into the NBA, foreign scouts said, Michael Jordan, greatest player of all time. When asked, haven't you seen Will Chamberlain? Didn't really faze the guy, and he said Michael Jordan.
Just an absolutely great kid. If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball, bar none. If I were going to pick people with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them.
Though I put context on the screen, just think about this. The guy hasn't even played one NBA game. And a respectable basketball legend saying, who's seen Magic Johnson, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, etc. say, Michael Jordan, the best.
So in the categories of competitiveness, ability, skill, and then athletic ability, he's the best athlete, he's one of the best competitors, he's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
The NBA in 1984. It didn't take long for Michael Jordan to become the biggest story in Chicago and the entire league. When practices began, word quickly spread about Jordan. With his otherworldly athleticism, he immediately dominated his veteran teammates. He didn't just stand out in practice. MJ's debut practice had to be shut down, literally. Former Bulls Vice President of Ticket and Premium Seating Keith Brown, who was the team's representative at the 1984 NBA Draft, recalled that first day of practice. According to Brown, he and then Bulls GM Rod Thorne were having lunch in the Bulls conference room when they saw head coach Kevin Lockery walking around. Thorne then asked the coach about the Bulls practice, and the latter said he had to cut it short because rookie Michael Jordan was embarrassing the team.
So we have 2 people calling him the greatest player of all time before playing basketball, in the NBA, of course, and he shuts down his NBA teammate. Next clip is NBA players talking about rookie Michael Jordan.
He's not 7 foot, so he's not going to carry a team in the NBA.
I don't think it'll make any difference if he plays forward or he plays guard. He's going to be super impact.
There's really not any such thing as a one-man team.
He is supposed to be that Moses to bring them out of the wilderness.
Everyone's going to have large expectations for my play. I'm just going to set expectations for myself and go out and try to contribute and maybe not try to carry the team and just try to fit in and not just a Michael Jordan show or a Michael Jordan trying to carry the team.
It's the 1984 draft. Jordan is picked with the 3rd pick. Let's see if he can deliver on the hype. After playing Michael Jordan through one game, this is what Larry Bird had to say. I've never seen one player turn around a team like that. The Bulls are better because of him. Forget Michael Jordan becoming an all-star. Larry Bird saying not only will he be an all-star, but Orlando Woolridge. If you don't know Orlando, do some research on him. But big claims here. Larry Bird goes on to say how Michael Jordan will eventually become the face of the league. And this was his only time playing with him, or at least his first game playing against him. If you guys want to see a quick look at how good rookie Michael Jordan was, well, naturally, Michael Jordan will become Rookie of the Year over the likes of John Stockton, Olajuwon, Barkley. We'll skip over the 86 season due to a broken foot, but a highlight in the 86 season is, of course, 64 points, sophomore year, most playoff points ever. And this one pretty famous quote.
That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. That was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
We were playing the Chicago Bulls, and this is Michael Jordan's 3rd or 4th year in.
Okay.
And we were playing an exhibition game in some obscure place. And most veterans do not like to play in exhibition games. They want to get to the real thing. I'm a wide-eyed, energetic rookie, and we're playing this exhibition game, and Michael's going through the motion. And Chuck Person, who's on my team, who's a trash talker as well, is like, can you believe Michael Jordan, the guy everyone's talking about, who's supposed to be able to walk on water, you're out here killing him, Reg. This is in the first half. He's like, you should be talking to him. He's like, you know, you're right. Michael, who do you think you are? The great Michael Jordan? That's right. There's a new kid on town, right? Kind of looks at me and starts shaking his head. So at half, I have 10, and he has 4 points, right? I'm doing all this talking. He's like, okay. End of the game in the second half, he ended up with 44. And I ended up with 12. So he outscored me 40-2. And as he's walking off, he's like, be sure and be careful. You never talk to Black Jesus like that.
I'm not sure if the famous quote from Larry Bird made this thing to say, but yeah, in 1987, Reggie Miller saying Jordan was called Black Jesus already by 1987.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Black Jesus.
Uh-oh. Chuck Daly's hot.
What did they call? I have no idea what they called.
The Pistons were called for an illegal isolation offense on their last possession, last half-court possession anyway, of the first quarter.
Well, this rule was put in at the beginning of the year to keep 3 players from standing above the foul line on the opposite side of the floor, and then isolating and playing 2-man basketball by bringing a guy over like a Lambeer to play a pick and roll with Joe Dumars. What must happen this year is only 2 guys can be up in that area. The other player must be below the foul line someplace.
I'm not too sure if I should be shocked or not, but in the 86-87 season, Jordan, with his 37 points per game, forced a rule change.
From the foul line down into the corner so that the defense can have a guy down there. So now that if you run a pick and roll, he can help out. It's very seldom called because it's been very seldom.
Story that I think summed the whole thing up. We was playing Chicago in Salt Lake. They switched and put John Stockton on it, and he turned around and dunked on Stockton. So some guy got up and almost followed him down the sideline and said, hey, Jordan, pick on somebody your own size. Next time down the floor, he dunked on Mel Turpin. And went over and looked at the guy and said, was he big enough?
Michael Jordan, the best. You know, Magic Johnson is my friend, Irvin.
Absolutely.
He's by far one of the best to ever pick up a basketball. But I tell you, this dude there,
yeah.
Did you check him with?
Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to see that's how I dream to be.
I dream I move. I dream I groove. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. I wanna be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like Mike. Be like Mike. Oh. Be like Mike. Yeah, I try. Just need to fly.
Just one day if I could be that way.
Part of having aura is not being a female dog, and that's why I included this clip in here.
And then a purposeful bump of Jordan. Michael pops his top, grabs and slaps Miller upside the head. Miller got ejected.
Up on you, you protect yourself with the best of your ability, and he definitely, at least he landed his punch.
The shot against Cleveland, everybody knows it. No reason to really bring it into this video, but a lot of people don't know about the second shot in Cleveland. One of my favorite NBA moments, one of my favorite Michael Jordan moments. Enjoy.
Anytime in situations like that, everybody in the gym knows he's going to get the ball.
Clutch time, winning time. It's usually Jordan time.
He was the first option. And the second option, if possible.
If I'm Cleveland, though, I'm going to make someone other than Michael beat me.
My mind started to think about all the other winning shots that I've made. And here we are in Cleveland again. You know, same scenario in a sense.
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan.
Once I stepped on the court, I had total confidence that I was going to make the shot.
Up to Michael. 6, 5, 4. Michael strip, got it back. 3, 2. Michael falls, fires.
Yeah! Does it again!
I've seen him do a lot of things, but that one shot was just something incredible as a teammate, as a player, probably as a fan. It was a nice moment in in Bulls history.
Michael right over Wilkins and in his face, and the Bulls have swept the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It was like time stopped for a few minutes to let the ball just soar through the air.
Championship ring. The test, can he come up big, as Michael Jordan has in so many situations in huge ball games. So what you're saying is consistency alone is not enough. You have to rise above that to bring your team to the next level. Absolutely.
Naturally, a player like Michael Jordan and the lore that he already received, this makes sense. But to be honest, it did shock me. A player who was able to get that type of respect from the commentary. And it's not just the commentary, but it's the competition that he's playing against. So when you look at everybody he's playing against, he's the one who stands out amongst all the guys. And when you watch the games, it's true. No one gets the amount of respect when playing, and no one deserves the amount of respect when playing like Michael Jordan. The praise does not stop there. This next clip involves Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard of all time, and Isiah Thomas. Has to be in everyone's top 5.
Joining us from the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, where he's with his kids at Disney World, Isiah Thomas. They were the leaders of the last two teams to win back-to-back championships. Each was thwarted in their efforts to three-peat. Let's begin with you, Magic. You were quoted earlier in the week as saying that while the Bulls certainly are one of the great teams of all time and belong in the conversation, you believe your Laker champions of, let's say, 85 or 87, both teams beat the Celtics in the finals, either one of them could beat these Bulls.
Well, because we had more weapons. I think that what happens sometimes, the Bulls rely on Michael too much. And what I was saying, that if you get me in foul trouble and get Michael in foul trouble, take us both out, you would see what would happen. You know, our team would dominate them. I mean, who's going to stop Kareem?
When you really think about it, it really doesn't make sense. You got Magic Johnson here, 5-time champion, multiple trips to the finals, considered already the greatest point guard of all time, and at this time there's no Steph Curry. And what is he saying? Michael Jordan, he's better than him. And if Michael Jordan had as good of a team as the Lakers or the Celtics, he's winning more championships. And he does it respectfully, not by diminishing his teammates, but diminishing himself, saying, Michael Jordan's better than me, and my team is the reason why we would win.
And we had so many more weapons. It's just we would beat them.
Isiah, your thoughts on your Piston teams that won back-to-back before the Chicago Bulls beat you in a sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals in 1991, and that started them on the road to their first of 2 in a row, now verging on 3. Could the best of those Pistons clubs beat these?
And before I go, if you haven't been paying attention to the timeline, Michael Jordan only has 2 championships. So he does not have 3 championships. He's not three-peated, let alone the 6 championships he's already acquired. And why people consider, when we talk about the GOATs and they say, oh, Michael Jordan has 6 championships, that's icing on the cake. That's the kind of thing that shut you up. But in 1993, you're going to see here, he was already considered the GOAT. So it's not about the 6 championships, not even about the 3 championships. With just the 2 championships, this is the type of compliments he received, the aura he had.
Chicago Bulls.
Well, I think it would have been a very interesting games in terms of matchups. I think the thing that really hurt us
if you remember, after we won our first championship was expansion, and we lost Ricky Mahorn, and we weren't able to do a couple of other things that we wanted to do with the draft and everything else. So it would have been interesting to see how well our team would have fared against this Bulls team. But, you know, when you're talking about this Bulls team, you're really only talking about Michael Jordan, and, you know, you can't really say that, you know, our team would have beat him or the Lakers team would have beat him, because nobody really has found out a way to stop this guy. Now, sure, yeah, if you take Michael away and you take Magic away and you take me away and you take Michael away, yeah, then our teams are better, but the fact is, he's still there.
It seems to me, though, that although teams peak at different times, when the Pistons were beating the Bulls, you had the right kind of defense. You were a tremendous defensive team and physical. You could rough the Bulls up. And with you and Joe Dumars in the backcourt, Michael really had to work on the defensive end. You were often running him into picks and wearing him out.
Well, the thing that amazes me about Michael Jordan and about I think the rest of the players in the league is his stamina and his endurance. The thing that I wasn't able to do, the thing that Magic wasn't able to do, we succumbed to injuries. We didn't have the type of stamina, the type of energy level that Michael seems to possess every single night, whether he's playing against the worst team in the league or the best team in the league. He has an energy level that's unmatched by any other player or any other athlete that I've seen in professional sport.
If you ever listen to First Take and Stephen A. Smith compare Michael Jordan's energy to Russell Westbrook, there's Isiah Thomas kind of doing that right now.
Whether it be basketball, football, baseball, track, tennis, his energy level is so much greater than ours, it seems, that night in, night out, he's there performing at a level that we frankly just weren't able to reach, and that's why he's there tonight, healthy and trying to three-peat, and Magic and I succumbed to injuries.
High praise, that's for sure. Isiah and Magic, stick with us. We'll continue in just a moment after this from Prudential.
Times they beat us, and then also we had to deal with Detroit when they came up and they had risen to the championship level. But let me just say this, no question that Michael would have scored 50 on us or 50 on anybody else, because he's just a great basketball player. But I think we would have held everybody else down and not take anything away from the Bulls, because I'm going to be very upset if he's three-piece, that being Michael Jordan, because he's going to have something over me. See, I can tease him about my 5 championships. Now he's going to be able to, if he does it, be able to tease me about three-piece, and something I couldn't do.
Of course, 5 titles for you and 4 other times in the finals, and each of the 4 times you lost, it was against certifiably great teams. Isiah's already praised Michael to the heavens. One more quick one from you, Magic, then back to Isiah. Do you feel that Michael is the best ever?
I think so. I think he's not only the best basketball player, but probably the greatest athlete that's ever played any sport. And I also think that I had to give praise to another guy in Larry Bird. He was probably the most fierce competitor that I've ever faced. But Michael Jordan is not only the best basketball player, but he's the most exciting basketball player to ever play. We only dream about doing things that he can do, and that being Isiah and myself.
Isiah, quick thought about the second half. The Phoenix Suns come right into the teeth of it here, and yet they lead at halftime. This is supposed to be a Bulls coronation, but the Suns are not succumbing easily.
Well, I think what happened the first half, if you go back to the start of the game when you had the shot on the chalkboard that said win 1 game, Phoenix came out to play a basketball game.
Before I let Isiah go, Magic Johnson grew up admiring Bill Russell. That was his favorite player. He saw Wilt Chamberlain, even played an older Wilt Chamberlain. And all you guys who say Kareem's the GOAT or Kareem's in that rank with Michael Jordan, you have Magic Johnson, his teammate, saying no. Magic Johnson versus Kareem should be the real debate, and I don't know why that's not more talked about.
When Chicago came out competing with destiny and history, and if the second half, holds true the fact that Phoenix is still playing a basketball game and Chicago is competing for history or destiny, then Phoenix is going to win the game, because you got to win the basketball game in order to win the championship or to go to the next level. And right now, Phoenix is playing a basketball game and Chicago is talking about history and destiny. So one of the teams has lost focus.
Isiah, thanks a lot. Always great to talk with you. We'll hear.
But in game 2, I played as well as I could play. And Michael just outplayed me. That was probably the first time in my life that I felt like there was a better basketball player in the world than me, to be honest with you.
This next clip might be my favorite out of all of them. Setting the tone, Michael just beat the Suns. He got a three-peat, he has 3 championships, but he retired. This is how the NBA and the world, I guess, felt about his retirement. When you look at the respect that he obtained just after 3 championships, 9 years, and the respect and who he gets it from, it's just unmatched, and it will never be matched, to be honest.
But they don't begin to explain just how great a player Jordan has been. From time to time, we've heard Michael's own thoughts on his exploits, but now we'd like to get the viewpoints of some of the all-time greats of the NBA. Peter Bessie went in search of the superlatives.
To achieve unparalleled greatness, one must transcend time. One's abilities and accomplishments must be measured against those who came before.
You could take your Russell arguments, your John Havlicek arguments, and throw them in the trash.
To be great, one must improve upon existing excellence, and at the same time lead your team to ultimate success. To be the best ever, one must create a standard by which all others are judged.
You are simply the standard by which basketball excellence is measured.
I would probably call him the ultimate weapon on a basketball court. Offensively, defensively, inspirationally.
He just stands apart from every player I've ever seen.
You're simply the best.
Other great players. It almost always seemed that there's a flaw in his game. I don't think there's any flaw in this guy's game. He's the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion. He's the best competitor in the league, in my opinion.
Just want to step in and say, don't ever disrespect Hakeem Olajuwon like that again.
He's by far the best offensive player, in my opinion. He's the best clutch player in the game. He's got the whole package, and his skill level, on top of that enormous physical package, really sets him apart from the other players.
If there was one area of weakness people thought was a weakness with Michael Jordan was his outside shooting. And Michael even went one step beyond. He even improved his three-point shooting, and now he's pretty proficient shooting from the three-point line. It's just impossible to defend him.
The only thing I can see that's a weakness to Michael Jordan is the fact that if he shows up and he just don't want to play and then only score 30 instead of 50.
He's literally the Mona Lisa of basketball. He has no imperfections.
Baryshnikov of basketball would be a simple term. I would describe him as Connie Hawkins with wings.
Never seems to bother him. But also, what happens when you're that good, other players who are all-star caliber have a lot of courage also. You can see their courage go away when they're playing against him. He emotionally and mentally destroys players at times, and you can see it happen.
4 years ago, I was going into places like Chicago and Los Angeles and saying, Larry Bird is the best player I've ever seen, and they were throwing things at me, as you might imagine. Sitting here today, I don't think there's any question that Larry Bird certainly deserves to be mentioned in the same breath, as does Magic Johnson, with Michael Jordan, but I think at this point in time, Michael is the best basketball player that I've ever seen perform.
What I want to tell fans is set your VCRs now, because once he goes, that's the only thing you're going to have is the memories and all the plays, all the joy that he gave us, because it won't be another one, that's for sure.
Jordan is the best combination of basketball player and athlete that I've ever seen. I think a lot of guys have good basketball skills, but very few put that athletic skill with the basketball skill. And for me, he's the best that I've ever seen.
Listen, if Jerry West, the league logo, says he's the best, who am I to argue?
That's
he's
right.
the best.
When you see the NBA logo, that figure in silhouette is Jerry West dribbling the ball.
That's right. Jerry says that God sprinkled a lot more dust on him than anyone else.
All right. When we come back,
Internalize what was just said, what you just heard, from the players you heard it from, and buckle up, we got a lot more to go.
Last Dance. I did not know Nick Anderson said
he wasn't the thing.
45 is not 23. Oh, Lord. I would have said, man, y'all, you don't shut the fuck up.